Hey, what's up guys, Josh has Boost here and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today I am joined by...
Dilemma. Hi.
there we go, plug yourself, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dilemma YGO. I'm the Zephyr guy, but I don't play Zephyr anymore, or very rarely. Uh,
Yeah, now he's actually playing the best deck in existence, so that's pretty good.
yeah, we replaced Zephyr New with Ray.
I mean, she's a pretty good girl. So actually we're doing like a pretty cool video today where we're going to be taking a look at Dilemma's deck list, and it's actually a budget version of the best deck in the game, Sky Striker. Which you did pretty well with, right? You had like a pretty good local streak going on.
Yeah. So last Sunday I went 8-1, going 3-1 at one local, and 5-0 at the second one. My only loss was to a virtual world player that opened Hobbies Feather Duster Game 3. Um, so it happens, but
Yeah, and
this
Virtual
deck
World's
like
like
really
a Virtual World's like a really hard matchup for Sky Striker anyway, usually. So
yeah, for
that's
sure.
fair
Like
enough.
the good cards like Mystic Mine aren't exactly good cards in that matchup, so
Yeah. So I guess, is there anything you want to say about the deck before we start looking at the actual deck list, or you just like want to go right into the deck list and then?
I mean, I'm sure we can talk about cards as we go through, because there's obviously some quite glaring card choices in the list.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, let's go for it. So starting off with
yeah.
Ash Blossom, right?
hmm
Yeah, I see like you're playing triple Ash Blossom and double Nibiru as the only hand traps in the main deck. Oh, and Impermanence as well. Apparently, it's like
Permanence is budget now because of the Cyber Dragon structure deck. So
oh, that's right. Yeah, I
they're
didn't
like
even
six
consider that.
pounds each now. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're like £6 each now. So nobody has an excuse for not owning a playset at this point. Yeah, the hand traps were really good. There was part of me that wanted to play DD Crow as a over Nibiru because I think DD Crow is like really good this format, but
mm,
decided on Nibiru just because Virtual World's a really scary matchup, and I just wanted to be able to hedge against it.
yeah. That's fair enough. Like the thing I have with Nibiru in this deck is that sometimes it can be so annoying that it summons a token and then basically it shuts off your Sky Striker cards. But I suppose it is really high impact, right? So it's probably worth it to play it.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with like Dragon Link creeping up again. Like you want to have very, very high impact hand traps against the combo decks because you can't really beat them without a solid answer to their game plan.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's fair enough. And I guess like Impermanence and Ash, they're basically like semi-staples in the format right now, right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so handship wise, that seems it seems alright. And I see you're main decking Pancreatops. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm mimicking Pancreatops because next to the Imperms is a field spell called World Dino Wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read this card before, but essentially it says Foolish Burial Goods equals Pancreatops, which is very, very strong right now. Also, like Pancreatops and Area Zero is a really funny interaction as well. You can use Pancreatops to say where you'd use Ray.
Yeah.
But no, like the World Dino Wrestling sort of like package with the set rotation and the Foolish Burial Goods and the Pancreatops was really, really good, especially considering we're not playing like the Selene access code stuff. You need ways to put additional damage on board, and 2600 is a lot of damage, considering, well, 1500 from my RT is not the best you're going to get with this deck. So,
Yeah. And I guess Pancreatops is pretty strong in the format as well, right? Like it at least it forces out the what's it called? The revolt for Tri Brigade, and then it's also pretty good against the standard Dragon Link board in forcing out their disruptions.
yeah, it forces out Haratic Seal or Tidying or whatever disruption they
Yeah.
choose to use on it. So,
All right. Yeah. That's. I mean. Oh, I think we didn't even say it yet, but it's obviously a going second build.
yeah,
Like.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't really afford if you're on a budget. Going first striker isn't exactly the most affordable thing in the world. Um, so being able to just play cards, well, budget cards like Mystic Mine and stuff like that, and then going a second version, just it's a lot more applicable to newer players that are trying to pick up a deck like Striker because they like the look of it or whatever.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's quite popular among like newer players as well. Like there's a guy at my locals who also just started and he's also playing the budget version of Sky Striker just because he likes the deck, and I
Yeah,
assume he's not the only one.
yeah. There's a little kid that just came to our locals recently, and he turned up with a Sky Striker core with no roses and no engage, but he really wants to play Striker anyway. So
He's just playing Striker on hard mode. I like it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd play this deck without engage eventually.
Um, yeah. So moving on in the deck list, you're playing like triple Ray, double Rose. I'm not sure if you want to say anything about that.
There's no real explanation needed, right? Like,
Yeah.
you could technically play one Rose because you do get a sixth card going second. But the hands where, I'm sure you'll agree, the hands where you don't see Ray are just the worst hands.
Yeah.
So playing well, what, 8 copies of Ray in this list? With the Rotor, the Engage, and the Hornet Drains?
Yeah.
You just want to see Ray every game, basically.
Yeah, for sure. Like if you don't see Ray, like there's literally just no way of winning. I've heard people talk about how they like just win with Shark Cannon and Widow Anchor and stuff like that, but honestly the odds of that happening aren't like very high.
That is a myth. I don't think that's a real thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I've been playing this deck for the best part of 3 years, and I think I've won games like that.
Yeah, same. I think like in my entire Sky Strike career, I won like one game like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, that's a nice ratio. Nothing to explain about that. Then Call by the Grave and the Foolish Goods package.
Yeah, Call by the Grave should be banned. I'll preach that forever. And Foolish Burial Good Metal Fusion is pretty self-explanatory, and the fact it has the doubling up as, World Dino Wrestling as well. So it's a good going second card as well as going first card, with
Yep.
being able to send Metal Fusion or Engage is generally really good overlap.
Yeah. Did you consider playing triple Goods just because you're playing like a little, how should I say it, a bigger Foolish Goods package?
Yeah, I was considering. So the original list was only playing one Rose, and I was playing through Foolish Burial Goods. Because we're playing like Popper Up, opening multiple Foolish Burial Goods doesn't hurt. We'll get into Popper Up in a bit. The card's insane. But the hands where I was opening multiple Foolish Burial Goods were really sucky, basically. So
Yep.
just decided to play the slightly more consistent extra copy of Ray than additional Foolish Burial Goods. But obviously, you could just play 41.
Ew.
But,
No.
I'm not doing that.
I agree. But yeah, that sounds right. I mean, I definitely think the second copy of Rose is more worthwhile than the third copy of Goods. Moving on to everyone's favorite card in the game. Mystic Mine.
I won a solid 4 game ones by activating Mystic Mine and asking my opponent if he played outs in the deck.
Yeah.
It's a sad reality where that is a win condition, but we are in a format where activating Mystic Mine and saying "Do you have an out" is a real thing.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, like, it's obviously a budget card, and it's like you say, it can just literally steal the game. Which is
Yeah, for
nice.
sure.
Competitively speaking, it's nice. Fun-wise speaking, it's not so nice, but it is what it is. Is there like any reason you didn't max out on the Mystic Mine?
It's just space issues, right? Because there's a lot of tech one-off cards that I wanted to play to be funky. You could just play 3 Mine, right? But
Yeah.
it's similar to Foolish Burial Goods in the fact that when you open Mystic Mine in multiples against the control/tempo decks, Mystic Mine's quite bad. You just sort of would rather have a Sky Striker card in those situations.
Yeah, fair enough. And you also don't want to brick on like too many field spells, right? That's just a thing.
For sure. Because Area 0 can't target Mystic Mine, which is another thing that came up in testing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, then Mystical Space Typhoon, a blast from the past.
Yeah, so Typhoon over Cosmic Cyclone, because you can Typhoon your Area 0. And that is the only reason to be playing Typhoon over Cosmic Cyclone, in my personal opinion.
Yep.
It's still 1-for-1 trades with everything you want it to 1-for-1 trade with. The only thing is Cosmic is slightly better versus the Virtual World matchup. But I think the additional utility of being able to Typhoon your Area 0 is just worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just like, in a strange way, it's like a consistency card, right? Where Cosmic Cyclone isn't.
Yeah. It's a weird flex spot, but
Yeah, no, I can definitely see it. So moving on to probably the most interesting card in the deck, which is you already mentioned it, Performapal Popper Up.
it's a budget desires.
I mean, I guess. So for everybody who doesn't know, Performapal Popper Up, I'll just read it real quick. Send up to 3 cards from your hand to the graveyard, draw that many cards, then you can special summon up to that many monsters from your hand with different names, which is not relevant because we're not playing any of those. So basically it's just discard X number of cards, spells usually in this deck, and then yeah, just dig deeper into your deck, right?
Yeah, for sure. The other upside to Popper Up I've found is when you're going second, there are a lot of cards you don't really want to see. Like Shark Cannon going second isn't great. Um, Additional copies of Widow Anchor aren't great, and Hard Drawn Hand Traps is your sixth card, which is a bit of a curse.
Yeah,
Also aren't great. So Popper Up being able to discard those cards and just dig further into your deck to the actual pieces that matter, such as Mystic Mine, Ray, Foolish Burial Goods, etc. Is like really strong. Obviously, it baits Ash really hard because the discard is cost.
yep.
Sometimes baiting Ash is just good enough to resolve Engage when you're discarding 2 other spells. And it does happen, and it did happen twice over the weekend. Um, but the card overall, every time it resolved, won me the game, and that's no exaggeration. The card just being able to discard Metal Phase Fusion and World Dino Wrestling, and at one point I was playing Galaxy Cyclone over the Mystical Space Typhoon because it was
Yeah.
another spell that could trigger a graveyard. The issue with that is its graveyard effect can't be used a turn it's sent there, which is
Yep.
a Popper Up was actually insane. Like obviously you can just replace Popper Up with Desires and be boring. But I genuinely really liked Popper Up as a kid.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. Honestly, I might just try it myself in like the build I'm playing, just because it's funny, right? It's definitely interesting, and it has cool interaction with the Metal Flow Fusion and the Dino Wrestling Field spell. So I mean, yeah, very cool. Moving on, we have some super staple stuff, right? We have the Rota, which of course you should be playing because you want to see Ray, and then set rotation, which makes a lot of sense in this build. With the additional targets, I'm not sure if you want to say anything else about it.
It's just 5 field. We're on 5 field spells, right? And 3 of them have different names. Set Rotation is just a good card. You can also do a similar thing to like Sky Striker's True Dragon back in the day, where you can give them Area 0, and then like pop the Area 0 on their side of the field to get a Ray from deck.
Yep.
Same with like World Dino Wrestling and stuff. Set Rotation was a good card, and no other things to say really. Also
Yeah.
helps play around evenly, actually. I did almost lose to evenly, but I had a set rotation, so insane.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember that being like a semi-relevant interaction.
When the
Um,
set rotation was at 3.
yeah. Then we have just like your Sky Striker spell ratios. So yeah, I guess just like run us through your thought process on that.
2 Area 0, because Area 0 sucks in multiples. Afterburn is just a generally good card. Didn't really want to play multiples because it sucks in multiples unless you're going against like a heavy combo deck. But we're already maining enough cards against heavy combo to really not play that.
Yeah.
Eagle Booster was a last minute addition. I think we both have a very similar opinion on Eagle Booster in the fact that it's just a good card to search off Shizuku to make sure that you can trigger multi-roll on the MPs.
Yeah, exactly.
And also you can like search it on your first turn and then use it to back up your Kagari, which is adding back the engage on the next turn, which is something I really like about it. And you can use it to protect Zeke, and in my case, Boral Sword Dragon, because we're on a budget. And we don't have the protection that stops its summon being negated or anything like that, like Access Code does.
Yep.
Hornet Drones is standard. 2 Shark Cannon over 3, simply because I don't think Shark Cannon's that great this format. I don't know how you feel on the card.
Yeah,
I'm not playing 3.
Yeah, I think honestly you could even consider just playing one of it, right? Especially since you're not playing Desire, so there's like no odds of it just getting banished. It's like you say, it's just in this specific format, it doesn't seem to be that great. There's definitely been formats where Shark Cannon was arguably like the best Sky Striker quick play spell, but now it's just super lackluster. So I could even see you playing one. of this.
See, I kind of like it right now against the Shadol Dogmatica deck,
Yeah,
because you can use it to bring back Macabre, which
yeah,
is kind of relevant. I brought back Macabres and Windows with Shark Cannons, which has won me a couple of games. And if sometimes when you out Dragoon, you can also bring Dragoon back, which is kind of cool.
yeah. It definitely does have its pretty high impact niche uses, but
Mm,
I don't know. It might definitely be worth it to play like another going second card or something. I'm not sure,
yeah, for sure.
but I'm not saying
If
like
you
two
can,
is bad, of course. It's
yeah, I mean, if you can afford droplets, play droplets, right? Or like Upstart is another card you could just play in its spot. So,
yeah,
Triple Anchor doesn't need explaining. The card's
yeah.
just good. Multi-roll doesn't need explaining. I think Engage is good. I've read it like once or twice. Something about Pot of Greed.
Yeah, it's pretty
Uh,
solid card, I heard.
yeah, and then just Terraforming to search the field spells, and then the best field spell in all of Yu-Gi-Oh, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, pretty solid main deck. Like, is there anything you would already know you would change after playing this list, or are you like super
Yeah.
happy with it?
I think I should be cutting Nibiru from the main deck and sort of playing something else. Um, I also considered Dark Ruler no more for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe I'll test that out. But it's between Dark Ruler no more and Nibiru, and they sort of interchange depending on what the meta's like, yada
Yeah,
yada yada.
yeah, understandable. All right, I guess we'll just yeah, let's just do the extra deck real quick since it isn't really that special. I mean, the only thing I would say is maybe I don't know. It's not even how do you say it? Not standard, but you're playing triple Hayate. A lot of people have been playing just like two Hayate, but
Yeah, I mean, in the going second list, it's kind of cool.
yeah. And yeah, there's no like Celine, Hulky Fireback's access code, but it's because you're playing the budget list, right? So those cards are not budget. At least access code Talker isn't.
Yeah, exactly. So like the Selene Access Code package has just been replaced by Boral Sword Dragon and Ningirsu, which to be honest, Ningirsu was really good over the weekend anyway.
Yeah,
Um, and Boral Sword Dragon's Boral Sword Dragon. Like we played Boral Sword Dragon for such a long time that despite it being technically power corrupt, it's still very, very good in the modern game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Regardless.
yeah, for sure. I mean, every time it hits the field, it's just a game, right? Even though there's
Mm-hmm.
like arguably better options, it's still obviously very, very powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's the extra deck. I don't think we need to spend too much time talking about that. But let's take a look at the side deck, which is definitely pretty interesting.
Yeah. So Triple Droll is for the Drytron matchup. The Nib is for Salad because we're in a locals format right now, right?
Yeah,
So like Salad, D-Link, all those decks. Twin is mostly for the Tri Brigade matchup because usually the Nibiru's come out, but obviously there's back row decks that exist. Same with the Red Reboot. And then a thing I've found is good players will force Sky Striker players to go first,
yeah,
especially after seeing my main deck game one.
yeah,
So I just wanted to play a like smattering of trap cards that I can side in to just side out the hand traps and the sort of the Dino Wrestler field spell, the Pancreatops and stuff like that. Just have a smattering of actual real trap cards that do something impactful, and those being like Solemn Strike and Deck and Be Only One, because Deck and Be Only One's obviously really solid against Dragon. And Dragon's a hard matchup in my personal opinion.
yeah,
I don't know about yours. And Judgment and Strike cover the Virtual World matchup pretty freely. So, yeah.
yeah. They're just super good anyway. There's like one card I have a question about, which is which is Red Reboot. Like obviously, like it's very strong against Berko decks, but I always have the feeling with Sky Striker, it's a little bit weird because you basically give them the +1, right, and you will very likely not be able to OTK them, which is why I'm not a
Yeah,
huge
for sure.
huge fan of it. But like,
Yeah.
what's your thought behind it?
So the reason I kind of wanted to play Red Reboot is it's quite good in the Virtual World matchup in the sense of Chuche is a really powerful card, and if it's flipped on your first turn, it's very hard to deal with.
Yeah,
But if it's flipped after the first turn, you tend to have a raise setup, so it's a lot easier to deal with. Um, Also, Reboot's good against the silly rogue decks, right? Like the Altergeist and the
yeah,
Subterra Guru and all that stuff. And also, I was citing Reboot for a little while against, the Phantom Knight deck because of Shade Brigadine.
Yeah. So you just that's like so weird. Wow, that's very funny
Well,
though.
I used to do it, during like Azathoth format when people were just like making Azathoth in August.
Yeah.
They were just doing that for free. Reboot had overlap in that matchup, so Reboot also has overlap inherently against the Phantom Knight deck because even if you're not like hitting Shade Brigadine, you're hitting Fogblade, right?
Yeah.
And Dragoon can't respond to Fogblade. Dragoon can't respond to Red
Red
Reboot, right?
reboot. Yeah.
So it's not a bad shout considering there's two PK players at my locals, and technically it's kind of targeted, but it's not, if you get what I mean.
Did it ever like? Did you play against them and did it work out? Like the red reboot on Shade Brigadier play?
Yeah, I Red Rebooted a Shade Brigadine on against a Traptrix player, actually.
Oh, that's pretty
Not
good.
quite PK, but
No.
yeah, it didn't come up into the PK matchup because I just opened Nibiru both games and
Okay.
kind of washed him.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so I guess that pretty much covers the entire deck. Then is like anything else you still want to add about the deck, or just like any last words you want to say outside of that?
Yeah, don't let the deck being expensive put you off. Like staple cards aren't that important. I know they're important, right? If you're going to a major event, pick up the staples. Don't be a wuss. But if you're going to locals and stuff, like playing a budget version of like any deck is relatively viable as long as you're a decent player. Like if you have faith in yourself, play something like this. Be innovative. Like this is by far very far away from standard striker, but I still did a good job. So yeah, that's it really. Oh,
Yeah,
and come
there we
check out my
go.
YouTube channel, Dilemma YGO. I'm sure I'll be in the description somewhere.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Um,
like, if you don't want to search it yourself, it will be in the description of the video.
yeah, I post Zephyr content and nothing to do with Sky Striker over there. But if you want to see some hand looped for 5 combos that end on like 4 Omni negates afterwards, come check me out.
Well, there you have it, guys. I mean, that's it. Thank you so much for showing off this very cool take on Sky Striker. As always,
Thank you
if
for
you made it,
having me.
yeah, no problem, man. Like, I had a good time. As always, if you made it to the end of the video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment what you think about the deck, maybe some budget changes you would make, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.